On our 7th wedding anniversary, my husband spent the night with his ex-wife. My usually well-behaved and sensible son became unusually rude, constantly criticizing me for being old or calling me an unstylish plain Jane. "So, who do you want as your mom then?" My son blurted out the name of my husband's secretary. Later, my husband knelt on the ground weeping bitterly, begging me not to divorce him. "What will happen to me and our son if you leave? Our son and I can't live without you." I pulled my hand away and walked away without looking back. "That's not my son, so what does it matter to me? Oh, I forgot to tell you, that's not your son either." Before we continue, subscribe to this channel, and let us know in the comments where you're tuning in from. On the day of my son's preschool graduation ceremony, the school required parents' attendance. I spent 3 months dieting and skincare prepping for it, only to be publicly criticized and embarrassed by my son during the ceremony. Isn't this embarrassing enough? My dad being here is plenty. "Why are you, so old, tagging along?" For that, I gave him a good beating in the back office, and my husband complained, saying I was like a shrew. "I don't want you as my mom, I want a new mom. I want a young and pretty mom." I bent down, suppressing my anger. "Then who do you want as your mom?" His eyes lit up. "Chloe." That name exploded in my heart. Marcus, who was standing nearby, lightly cleared his throat, a hint of unease flashing in his eyes. Because was his secretary. She had just started last month, and my son had started finding fault with me around the same time. Marcus never interfered with parenting, not even remembering our son's birthday. But lately, his paternal love seemed to overflow. He would take our son out to play frequently. It turned out he wasn't just cheating, but also, for his own selfish desires, corrupting my son. All these pieces clicked together, delivering a solid slap that jolted me awake. Words divorce were on the tip of my tongue, but I swallowed them back down. I had been by his side from his humble beginnings to his current success. Even the company's initial capital came from me working multiple jobs, selling everything I had to earn it for him. To divorce him now would be letting him off too easily. I had to make him leave with nothing and ruin his reputation, but seemed even more eager than I was. A few mornings later, as I was taking Big for a walk, I ran into Chloe in the elevator. "Good morning, sis-in-law. We're neighbors now, please take care of me." She blinked her moist eyes, seeming utterly harmless. She even knelt down and gently stroked my dog. Big is so well behaved. It seemed Marcus, and she truly had no secrets. After just 1 month of working, she even knew my dog's name. Before I could react, Big struck first, biting her hard. She yelped, pulling her hand back, and stood up, retreating to the corner. "Oh, I'm so sorry." Big is usually friendly to people, just a bit territorial with other dogs. "Does it hurt a lot? Do you want to go to the hospital?" She awkwardly covered the wound, shaking her head slightly. Although Shot had bitten someone, I wasn't angry or upset. I even rewarded him with a large dog bone. As I handed it to him, the little guy's tail wagged like a propeller. That day, Marcus went to Fairfield to discuss business. I used the excuse of retrieving documents to go to the company, where I installed a listening device and pinhole camera in his office. By the time I returned home, it was evening. The moment I opened the door, I heard the sound of my son, Leo, throwing and smashing things, even faster than Big running to greet me. "That old hag isn't home again, why can't I take Big out myself?" The nanny, seeing me, ran over sobbing, as if relieved. "Madam, you're finally back. Leo wanted to walk Big just now, and when I wouldn't let him, he smashed the TV. I was just worried about him being unsafe outside. I'm Tr. Yuli sorry, you can deduct the repair cost from my salary." I took tissues from my purse and handed them to the nanny. "This child has been acting strangely lately, he's never been like this before. I'm sorry to cause you trouble. How about I raise your salary by 2,000 every month? I've been quite busy lately and haven't had much time to look after him." The nanny happily agreed, and I finally felt a sense of relief. I turned around and gave my son a good beating. "Tell me, who taught you that old hag word? Aunt was right, you are an old hag. To sis-in-law, can I use your bathroom to take a shower? My water heater is broken." As she asked, her eyes darted towards Marcus, and her voice was delicate. He didn't respond, yawning as he walked towards the bedroom. Instead, Leo, the little brat, ran over at the sound, eagerly leading Chloe into the house. "Of course, Aunt, go right ahead. After your shower, can you take me to Westgate to buy toys? I'm already tired of the action figures you gave me last time." Chloe smiled, stroking my son's head, her eyes beaming. "Of course, but you have to ask your mom first. I can only take you if your mom agrees." She certainly knew her way around, walking directly to the bathroom without even letting Leo lead her. Even the nanny, who had only been working for a few days, looked on in surprise. I didn't agree to you using my bathroom. Just now, I noticed you rubbing your hands a lot. You don't have a skin condition, do you? I have a child at home, and it wouldn't be good if it spread. You understand, right? She stopped, slowly turned around, and spoke loudly in a strained voice. Sis-in-law is really cautious, isn't she? Well, sorry to have bothered you, I'll go somewhere else. I don't believe I can't find a neighbor who will let me use their bathroom. Marcus flashed with jealousy, pushing the door open and ushering Chloe into the bathroom. Go ahead and wash up, then leave. I don't want to see you outside of work hours. You have no boundaries. My son, acting as her little protector, stood at the bathroom door with my bath towel, waiting. I took back the bath towel and handed my son the dry towel Big had been using for 2 years. Mommy's bath towel needs to be washed, how can I give it to Aunt? Use this one instead, it was just washed and smells nice. She'll definitely like it. My son was only 6, he wouldn't understand these things. Besides, he only played with Big and had never given him a bath. But knew. Grace, I know you mind. No, let her use mine. It would be bad if people found out that bath towel was for the dog. I laughed out of pure rage, looking at him with an undeniable ferocity in my eyes. Anything Shot has used is cleaner than anything of yours. That night, after Marcus fell asleep, I checked his phone. The password was still my birthday, utterly hypocritical and ironic. He had truly deleted everything. The chat history contained nothing but work-related matters. But in the bank statements, I saw several large transfers he had made to Chloe. Last day, he said he had to work overtime, but late at night, he transferred 180,000 yuan to Chloe, with the memo, buy a designer bag. Last festival, he said the company was in trouble, so he transferred 200,000 yuan from my card to Chloe, with the memo, down payment for Chloe's car. Last month, he fired his previous assistant and hired Chloe, transferring 50,000 yuan to her, with the memo, Chloe's monthly salary. That month, she only worked 5 days, earning 10,000 yuan a day. That night, I tossed and turned, unable to sleep. My mind was filled with the grand promises he had made when I helped him start his business. Once the company takes off, I'll give you 10,000 yuan a day, and you'll just focus on eating, drinking, and having fun, without worrying about anything. Marcus had just secured a big deal, and to celebrate, he organized a team-building retreat for the weekend. As I was putting on makeup in front of the mirror, he was tying his tie behind me. If you don't want to go, just rest at home. There are lots of mosquitoes in the Willow Mountains. I turned around and lightly poked his chest with my fingertip. After all, it's Marcus's hard-earned empire. As the owner's wife, I should help host the employees. As soon as the car left the city center, I called Sarah and sent her to the company. Focus on personnel changes and project cash flow for the past 3 years. Also, thoroughly investigate any financial issues. Sarah was my college roommate, now a private detective. The surveillance equipment and listening device she gave me were from her. After everything was arranged, I saw Chloe taking selfies and posting them online in the mountains. She probably glimpsed Marcus walking towards her from the corner of her eye. She timed it perfectly and staged a dramatic fall. How could you be so careless? Marcus's voice was more urgent than the mountain wind. He rushed over and knelt beside her. My ankle seemed swollen. I'm so sorry I ruined your fun, Marcus. A new intern offered to carry Chloe. It's fine, everyone keep having fun. I'll carry her down the mountain to put some ointment on. I brought ointment for sprains and bruises. No. I'm not going down the mountain, I can still climb. Chloe suddenly yelled, startling the intern. Put her down. Since she wants to climb, as her boss, I have no right to refuse. I'll carry her. He carefully lifted Chloe into his arms. He ignored the strange looks the surrounding employees gave me. I stood behind the crowd, taking over a dozen photos and recording a video with my phone. Marcus truly cares for his employees. I walked over and showed him the phone screen. This photo is great. When we get back, I'll show it to Leo. Isn't he always talking about Aunt? He'll definitely be happy to see it. Marcus's face instantly clouded, like a brewing storm. Grace, stop messing around. Messing around? Isn't treating me as part of your little game messing around? But I didn't say anything, I just casually posted a short video and bought 2,000 yuan worth of traffic to promote it. After all, I shouldn't be the only one disgusted by this scene. My money wasn't wasted, the video went viral that very night. Marcus's company had been gaining significant traction locally in the past 2 years, and soon, someone dug up his identity. Chloe's photos were thoroughly scrutinized, from her pre-surgery pictures in college to her social media posts after joining the company, all of which were posted online and heavily criticized. Early the next morning, Chloe came knocking, crying, "Sis-in-law, please delete the video. If this continues, my parents will be talked about by the neighbors." She stood in the foyer, weeping profusely, her white shirt hinted at her going braless. Unfortunately, Marcus wasn't home at the time to see her meticulously planned outfit. "Video? What's wrong with the video? Why should I delete it?" She buttoned 2 more buttons at her neckline. "I'm now reviled by the entire internet, those damn netizens are practically digging up my birth certificate, and my accounts are all flagged. You tell me why I should delete it?" I couldn't be bothered to argue with her and turned to go to the bathroom. As soon as I closed the door, I heard some rustling outside. Big suddenly let out a mournful whimper. I yanked the door open and saw Chloe pouring half a bag of something into Big's dog bowl. Seeing me, the plastic bag in her hand fell to the ground with a thud. "What are you doing?" I rushed over and pulled Big behind me. "I wasn't doing anything." Chloe recoiled, her tears falling even harder. "I just thought Big was cute and wanted to feed him some treats." "Sis-in-law, you're not going to try the same trick again and try to frame me, are you?" Marcus had returned at some point, his face ashen. "Chloe." His voice was cold as ice. "If you can't do your job, get out." I sneered. She was so convincing, as if someone else had been holding her in the Willow Mountains yesterday. Before could react, I raised my hand and slapped her. A sharp smack echoed in the living room, and half of her face instantly turned red. That slap was for Big. I stared into her eyes. "If you dare to touch my dog again, I won't just slap you," Leo cried, shielding Chloe and cursing me as a bad woman. My temper flared instantly. I grabbed his arm and spanked his bottom. He bit me hard. "You're not my mom," he suddenly screamed, his voice hoarse. "Aunt said it, you're not my real mom at all." Suddenly, I remembered my son saying something similar 2 or 3 years ago. At the time, I thought he was just a mischievous and ignorant child who had heard some nonsense somewhere. It seemed Chloe had already been in contact with my son before she joined the company. Marcus suddenly rushed over and kicked Leo onto the sofa. "What nonsense are you spouting?" he yelled, his voice hoarse, veins bulging on his forehead. I froze. Leo lay crying on the sofa. It was then that I clearly saw the redness around his eyes, the curve of his mouth, which bore a slight resemblance to Chloe. Once a seed of doubt is planted, it's hard to eradicate. Early the next morning, I collected samples of my son's hair for testing. Fearing a mix-up by the doctors, I specifically included Marcus's hair as well. As for Chloe's hair, it was easier to collect. After all, she had been to my house countless times before, and there were still some loose hairs she hadn't cleaned up in the bathroom last time. For the paternity test report came back, Leo was not my son, nor was he Marcus's. This child was Chloe's with some other man. Clutching the paternity test report, I struggled into the car. Just then, my phone buzzed with a notification from the surveillance camera. In the surveillance footage, Marcus and Chloe were passionately entwined on the sofa. Afterward, they discussed how to make me leave with nothing. "Oh. NCE signs the papers, those few properties will be transferred to you. I'll definitely take custody of Leo, I would never let our son go with an outsider." A family of 3? It seemed this paternity test report was redundant. The footage suddenly froze, pausing on Marcus handing Chloe tissues. I rewound the timeline and turned the volume to maximum. Chloe's light as a feather words were like a boulder, crushing me and making it hard to breathe. "If it weren't for your failed investment back then, needing help from that worthless woman Grace, how could I have sent our son to her? Luckily, my son and I will be reunited soon." So it wasn't corrupting him, it was reclaiming him. The child I had fed for 6 years, whose diapers I had changed countless times in the middle of the night, had been cared for someone else all along. My phone vibrated again, a balance alert from the bank. All the funds in my accounts, including years of saved private money, had been transferred to a newly opened anonymous card. I should have felt fortunate for discovering it early, but I couldn't feel happy at all. If I was raising someone else's child, then what about the child I carried for 10 months? When returned, his expression was as weary as usual. "I had a big client meeting today. I might be traveling next week. Working nonstop every day, I'm exhausted." I couldn't hold back any longer and spoke, choked with emotion. "Where is my son?" He paused, then chuckled, patting my shoulder. "The nanny took Leo for a walk, didn't she? What's wrong, Grace? Did upset you again and make you confused?" With that, he gently tapped my nose, smiling indulgently. I wanted to throw the surveillance video at him, but my last shred of reason told me it wasn't time to show my cards yet. I mean, my biological son. I've already done a paternity test. Leo isn't my son at all. He looked away, lowering his gaze to brush off non-existent dust from his clothes. You had a severe hemorrhage and were in a coma for 3 days. As soon as you woke up, the doctor brought Leo for you to see. The doctor even had you kissed Leo. Have you forgotten? Don't give me that. The more he tried deflecting, the angrier and more afraid I became. I looked at his nonchalant expression, raging, and grabbed a glass and hurled it. Marcus, where did you take my child? It's in black and white right in front of you, why are you still pretending? He suddenly grabbed the back of my neck and slammed my head against the wall. Stars burst before my eyes. If you hadn't been unable to bear a healthy child, how could I have brought Chloe's and my child for you to raise? Chloe rushed downstairs frantically, crying and taking responsibility. Sis-in-law, it's all my fault, please don't be angry with Marcus. Your son was born looking like a monster, all red and frightening. To make Marcus feel better, I had someone take him away. I wished I could kill her with my own hands. I lunged at her like a madwoman, grabbing her by the throat. Who took him away? Where is my son now? She coughed, her lips turning purple. How would I know where your son is? If he wasn't a boy, no one would even want him. As for where he was sold, you can go find out yourself. From that day on, I moved out of that filthy apartment and contacted Sarah, asking her to mobilize all the detectives in the city to find my son, who had been abducted years ago. I know you're not short on money, but I wouldn't feel right not contributing. Take this cash. If you really find him, that apartment is yours too, Sarah. 5. The child has been found, in Blackwood. Sarah choked up, clearing her throat. Blackwood? I had seen that place in the news. It was a notorious human trafficking village deep in the Willow Mountains. Last year, there had even been reports of cases involving the abduction of women and children. Which family specifically? How is the child? My voice trembled uncontrollably. I tried to maintain composure, but tears streamed down my face. It seems to be Jad, the old bachelor in the village. He bought the child 6 years ago for 3,000 yuan. The child isn't sick, the redness on his body was caused by dye. He's a healthy, fair-skinned child. Sarah's voice was very low. Grace, prepare yourself. The child is in a very bad situation. I hung up before she finished, grabbed my car keys, and rushed out the door. The drive took 10 hours, and I had to cross another mountain to finally arrive. When I was an hour away from the village entrance, I contacted the police. After all, this was a hellhole that had been in the news multiple times, and it was unrealistic for me to try to take my son alone. But as soon as I reached the village entrance, I saw a barefoot little boy in patched clothes being whipped by a hunchbacked man. You only cut this much pig feed all day? You're not even as useful as a guard dog. Blood is thicker than water. Before I even saw the brown birthmark on the inside of his arm, my heart ached repeatedly, and I vaguely felt that he was my child. At that moment, I cursed a cruel twist of fate. Why did my son's birthmark look exactly like Leo's birthmark? If it weren't for that, how could I have raised a scumbag's child for 6 years? Who are you? His voice was hoarse, unlike that of a 6-year-old. His small hands were covered in chilblains and cracks. I wanted to hug him, but he suddenly recoiled, hitting a tree. Don't touch me, it hurts. Just then, Jed saw me pulling the child and swung a hoe at me. Where did this crazy woman come from? How dare you try to steal my child? I shielded my son behind me, taking a direct hit on my back. The pain made my vision go black. He's my son. I pulled out a photo from my phone, a picture of the child just after he was born. Look at this birthmark, he's my son. Jed's hoe froze midair, the flesh on his face trembling. Nonsense. He's my son, don't try to fool me with a broken photo. More than half of the villagers gathered, each carrying a hoe or pickaxe. This child belongs to our village. If you want to take him, just try. My son suddenly tugged at my hand, urging me to leave quickly. His small hands were cold. I touched his arm, he was so thin, just skin and bones. To confront these people head-on would probably mean dying here, which wouldn't be a big deal. They were too united. I fell to my knees, bowing my head to the gathered villagers until my forehead bled. Please, he's my biological son. He was secretly sold by my husband and his mistress. Please let me take him. I'll give you money, I'll build you roads, I'll build you a school. My son cried out in fear, begging me to leave quickly, saying if I stayed any longer until the village chief arrived, I might not even get out of this village. This child has a worthless life. When we got him, they said he wouldn't live long. You could have had many more kids in the time you're wasting. You're crazy. I suddenly grabbed his wrist. Who brought him? Jed froze, his eyes darting around. When the police arrived, I was huddled with my son in the woodshed corner. He had a high fever, constantly mumbling "Don't hit me," his tiny body burning like fire. Jed was still cursing as he was pinned to the ground. I held my child's hand, repeating over and over, "Mommy's here, don't be afraid." He gently touched my face with his small hand and carefully whispered, "Mommy." But then he suddenly convulsed, his eyes rolling back. The doctor pulled open his shirt, and I saw his back was covered in old and new whip marks, and his ribs were bruised black. Acute kidney failure and internal bleeding, caused by prolonged abuse. It was too late for treatment. Oh, dear. I kissed his forehead, my tears dripping onto his face. "We're going home, Mommy will buy you candy, action figures, so many toys." He smiled, and his eyes slowly closed. I cried until I almost fainted, holding my son tightly, unable to let go, until the nurse had to take his body away. "Don't touch him." I lunged forward like a madwoman. As I was pulled away, I saw Sarah standing at the end of the hallway, her eyes red. Marcus and Chloe went to the Maldives. She handed me a photo, a picture of them together at the airport. 7 after my son's funeral, I immediately went to the company. The receptionist tried to stop me, but I pushed her aside. "Call all senior executives to the conference room, 5 minutes. Anyone late is fired and won't see a dime of their bonus." They probably had never seen me like this. My hair was disheveled, my eyes swollen red, and I hadn't even had time to change my clothes. There was still mud on me. Marcus embezzled company funds and abused his position, selling off part of the company's equity for Chloe. The evidence is all here. I slammed the organized evidence onto the table. "Now, you have 2 choices, either join me in sending him to prison, and the company can be saved, or wait to go down with him." No one spoke. I smiled and projected the previous surveillance footage onto the big screen. Marcus and Chloe were in the office, discussing how to transfer assets, how to fabricate evidence, and how to make me take the blame. Everyone sitting there was shrewd and astute, knowing they had chosen the wrong side, they naturally wouldn't stick with him to the bitter end. After finishing everything, I stood up and walked out. At the elevator lobby, I ran into Chloe, who was probably returning to pick something up. "Oh, isn't that Grace? Why do you look like a beggar?" She laughed, shaking all over. "I heard your son's funeral is over. What a shame, my husband and I should have gone, but we just couldn't make the time." Before she could finish, I pulled a fruit knife from my purse and pressed it firmly against her neck. "If it weren't for you, how would my son have died? Give me back my son." As I applied more pressure, Marcus rushed over and pulled Chloe behind him. "Grace, are you crazy? We're also very sad about the child, and besides, that child wasn't healthy to begin with." I laughed, tears finally falling. "Not healthy? You actually believe that nonsense? That was clearly a healthy child. Marcus, that was my biological son. You and this worthless woman killed him with your own hands." He suddenly slapped me, his eyes filled with a sinister look I had never seen before. "Have you caused enough trouble? The company has been ruined because of you. What more do you want?" "What more do I want? Of course, I want you both to pay with your lives." Ada's pinned me to the ground, Chloe hid behind him, secretly filming. "Everyone, come see, this crazy woman is trying to kill me," she cried genuinely into the camera. "She's just jealous of me, jealous that Marcus loves me." I struggled to get up, Marcus's knee pressed into my back, making it hard to breathe. "Grace, let's get a divorce. I originally felt sorry for you and planned to give you some assets, but now it seems I'll just make you leave with nothing." "Leave with nothing?" I laughed. "Marcus, have you forgotten? This company, from its name to its initial capital, is mine. You embezzled company funds to support a mistress, and now you want me to leave with nothing?" He froze, probably not expecting me to know so much. I seized the opportunity to push him away. "You just wait. I'll make sure your mistress, and that illegitimate child all go to hell together." Leo appeared at some point, crying and clinging to Chloe's leg. "Mommy, this bad woman is trying to kill you. I want Daddy to beat her to death." Chloe stroked his head, her eyes looking at me with defiance. "Did you hear that? Even a child knows you're a bad woman." I stared at Leo's face and suddenly found it comical. For 6 years, I had fed him, changed his diapers, and sent him to Cedarwood, yet he called the woman who killed my biological son Mommy. On the day of the trial, Chloe didn't show up, probably fearing trouble. Leo saw me and suddenly rushed over, kicking my leg. "Bad woman. You ruined my daddy's company. I want you to die." I knelt down and looked into his eyes. Did your mom only teach you to curse me? Did she teach you how to be a scumbag and a hussy? Marcus's face instantly turned pale. He grabbed Leo and tried to leave. Leo was still cursing, bad woman. You'll die a horrible death. Yes, Chloe, that bad woman, certainly would die a horrible death. Marcus sat on the defendant's stand, still whispering with his lawyer, probably thinking I couldn't produce concrete evidence. When the judge read the verdict, his face gradually turned ashen. All illegal gains are to be recovered, and the company and its assets shall belong to the plaintiff, Grace. Marcus suddenly stood up. Impossible. This company is mine. Grace, you worthless woman, you manipulated me. Manipulated you? I walked up to him and held up my son's photo for him to see. Compared to you causing my son's death, what is a little manipulation? His gaze fell on the photo, and he suddenly cried. Grace, I was wrong. Can you forgive me? You watched Leo for 6 years, even if he's not your biological son, can you bear for him to suffer with me? I laughed, tears streaming down my face. Marcus, get this straight. Leo is not your son either. He froze, his pupils dilating, his body leaning back slightly. What did you say? Leo is Chloe's child with another man, he has nothing to do with you. I slapped the paternity test report onto his face. The son you raised for 6 years is someone else's child. For him, you caused the death of your biological son. The woman you supported with embezzled company funds was lying to you all along. Marcus, tell me, aren't you a joke? He suddenly shrieked, bumping into the bailiffs like a madman. Impossible. You're all lying to me. Chloe wouldn't lie to me. Leo is my son. As he was dragged out, he was still yelling, Grace. You're so vicious. You faked the paternity test report, didn't you? I'll hound you even as a ghost. I watched him disappear through the door, feeling not a ripple in my heart. Sarah told me the news that Chloe had ran off with the money. She transferred all 30 million that Marcus had hidden overseas. Sarah's voice was tired. But before Marcus went to prison, he had Leo held hostage, saying he wanted Chloe to come back and exchange for the child. She'll be back. Indeed, 3 days later, Chloe voluntarily contacted the police, saying she was willing to surrender, only asking Marcus to release the child. I followed the police to my former apartment, which had already been sealed off. Marcus was temporarily released for negotiations. He had Leo tied to a chair, holding a knife. Chloe knelt on the ground, weeping bitterly. Marcus, I was wrong. I lied to you then because I was afraid you wouldn't want me. Even though Leo isn't yours, he's innocent. Let him go, and I'll do anything you say. I have nothing left now, and it's all because of him. I want him to die with me. Leo cried out in fear. Daddy, I'm sorry. I'll be good from now on. Don't call me daddy. Marcus tightened his grip on the knife. I'm not your daddy. You're just like your mom, both liars. I suddenly spoke, afraid he might forget about our deceased son. Calm down. Do you think this will bring back our son? His movements paused, a flicker of hesitation in his eyes. Chloe seized the opportunity to lunge, trying to grab Leo. Marcus suddenly went mad, stabbing the knife towards Chloe, then turning it towards Leo. The siren grew closer. I watched him raise the knife and stab himself in the heart. In his final moment, he looked at me, his lips moving, as if saying I'm sorry. After everything settled, I even began to regret why I had submitted so much evidence. If it had just been a divorce case, maybe I could have killed these scumbags with my own hands. It was a pity I didn't get to do it myself. Sarah advised me to leave this city and start fresh somewhere else. I shook my head. This is closer to my son, and my heart feels more at peace here. I sold the company and donated all the money to a children's aid charity, using my son's name, Finn. Big lay by my feet, his tail gently sweeping against my hand. He was old and couldn't run anymore, but he still accompanied me to Finn's gravesite every day. Mommy will live well, for both of us. The setting sun stretched my shadow long. Big nudged my palm, warm and comforting. Thank you for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments. Feel free to share your opinions, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.